I must say, I've been looking forward to this introduction for a long time. To be able to formally introduce our new president to the university, and I'm sure my fellow members of the search committee and the Board of Trustees share that feeling with me. A few months ago, the plain dealer described us as bursting with pride over the new president of our university, and I must say, they got it right. After a search that began with the screening of 400 candidates who were presidents or provosts of other universities, or men and women of enormous accomplishment in related fields, the Board of Trustees of Cleveland State University unanimously selected Dr. Ronald M. Berkman as our new president on April 26, 2009. Dr. Berkman's CV is replete with marquee names of higher education, rich with important and successful assignments in his field, and steadily progressive through the hierarchical ranks of the institutions where he served. His portfolio was broad, and the results run deep. Dr. Berkman has a background of accomplishment and brings to Cleveland State a demonstrable record of having achieved the kinds of things we aspire to. Recently, we received a letter from the sitting chancellor of the City University of New York, Matthew Goldstein, at which point Dr. Berkman served in his career, expressing his regrets that he was unable to be with us today, but his well wishes are truly worth sharing with you. I'll quote him. "My congratulations to Cleveland State for its wisdom in recruiting and appointing Ron Berkman, a man with impeccable credentials and the singular ability to lead this fine university to new heights in the years ahead. Ron knows higher education from many perches, and I feel fortunate to have been present during his early forays into higher education administration. Each institution at which Ron has officiated has become a much stronger place because of his work. And I have every expectation that Cleveland State University will flourish as a result of his intelligence and good judgment. I know that the faculty, staff, and students of this fine institution will benefit mightily from Ron's energy and talents during what I trust to be a long and illustrious tenure." That is from the Chancellor of CUNY. Now, I'm not going to detail every position and accomplishment that our new president has held, but let me give you some highlights which will more than amply paint the picture. Dr. Berkman received his PhD from Princeton University in 1976. Following the award of that degree, he has taught at the Woodrow Wilson School at Princeton, the University of California at Berkeley, Brooklyn College, the City University of New York, and the University of Puerto Rico. In 1976, he was named Dean of the Urban and Public Affairs at Florida International University. And several years later, he was appointed Executive Dean of a large interdisciplinary college at Florida International University, which contained accredited colleges of nursing, health sciences, public health, social work and policy, and management. He directed the university's successful efforts to receive authority to open a college of law and a college of medicine. Now, I encourage you to take a minute and reflect on how that overlays the vision and ambitions we have for Cleveland State. In 2001, he chaired Florida Governor Jeb Bush's Healthcare Summit, and in 2005, he was appointed Provost, Executive Vice President, and Chief Operating Officer of FIU, a growing university with approximately 38,000 students. As a scholar, Dr. Berkman has co-authored or co-edited 5 books on municipal government, public policy, economic development, and crime and corrections policy. As a commentator on urban and public affairs, he's frequently appeared on CNN and other major television and radio networks. See, we do have a rock star in our midst here. Dr. Berkman moves to Cleveland with his charming and lovely wife, Patsy, and is energized by the vision of truly being a transformational leader of our university. As you would suspect, I've spent a lot of time with Ron over the last 12 months and I can truly say that the institution is in good hands. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the new president of Cleveland State University, Dr. Ronald M. Berkman.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. First, let me thank Chairman Weinberg. I am grateful for that warm introduction and for your unwavering enthusiasm and support for Cleveland State University. The entire Board of Trustees exemplifies a commitment to this community and the university that is extraordinary. In fact, it was this board's sense of purpose, the time, the energy, and the focus that I saw during the search process that convinced me that this was a special group of leaders committed to the ideals of public higher education and the mission of the university. The board's abiding belief that CSU is an important instrument of transformation of our city, county, and region made it clear that the board understood the nature of an urban university and was anxious to advance the partnerships and connectivity vital to an urban university's success. I pledge that I will do all that I can to take the university down this path and redeem the faith the board has placed in me. The leadership of the board is complemented by the leadership at the local and state level, particularly that of Mayor Frank Jackson and Chancellor Eric Fingerhut. The Chancellor is passionate in his belief that the future of the state depends on the ability to produce a diverse and diversified core of graduates who will become the architects and engineers of a new state economy, one that will be anchored in new knowledge and knowledge service industries. State leadership is aligned with this vision. In the most difficult of times, our state leadership fought and largely succeeded in protecting the state's investment in public higher education. I thank all my family, friends, and colleagues who have traveled to share this day with us. All have contributed in different ways to providing me the opportunity that I have today. Most of all, I am grateful to my wife and secret weapon, who becomes less secret by the day, for supporting me and joining me on this incredible journey. Please take a moment and welcome my wife and partner, Patsy Bilbao. Our children and other members of our family are also with us today, and I would ask them to rise and be recognized. It is an honor to stand before you today as president of Cleveland State University. Dr. Michael Schwartz had a long-planned trip to the Mediterranean and could not be here, but I want to commend his leadership over the last 8 years. I also want to recognize former President John Flower, who was going to be here, absent yesterday's bout with the flu, and Dr. Claire Van Emerson, who is here, for helping to construct the university platform we build upon today. Please join me in one round of applause for our emeriti presidents of the university. Since I accepted this position, I've been telling everyone that there is no place I would rather be than right here at CSU. And yes, I think I know about lake effect snow. CSU and Cleveland already feel like home. In many respects, my entire life has been spent in preparation for this opportunity. So allow me to tell you a little bit about the trail that led me here. Virtually all of my life has been spent in cities. I know cities and appreciate them. I draw strength from their energy and resilience, respect for hard work and the determination of their residents. Secondly, I believe passionately in public higher education. I myself am a product of New Jersey's higher education, public universities, earning a BA in political science at William Patterson. And like so many of our students today at universities throughout this country, I worked during my time in college and helped myself make it through the university. I became a college student somewhat reluctantly, waiting 3 years after graduation from high school before enrolling at Patterson. Until that time, being a somewhat less than mediocre student, I simply wasn't interested in going back to school. But once I began and grew to love the freedom of thought, inquiry, and creativity that college provided. After earning a PhD and teaching at the Woodrow Wilson School at Princeton for 3 years, I wanted to teach at a public university. I felt I had something I needed to give back. So I accepted a professorship at Brooklyn College, part of the City University of New York, and spent the next 15 years there. I loved teaching and found that I was a good teacher. Good teachers are fundamental to education at every level. Nothing is more important. Good teachers are better listeners than talkers. Dialogue is a more valuable teaching tool than monologue. A teacher's true mission is to make each student feel he or she has something to contribute and to provide them a path to grow through participation, to create a safe environment for students to grow and make mistakes. I would have been happy to spend the rest of my career as a professor, but somehow I stumbled into administration, joining the CUNY administration as the University Dean for Urban Affairs. This brought me face to face with the myriad and complex set of issues that confront urban universities and American cities. Later, I was named founding dean of the School of Public Affairs at Baruch College, the City University's first School of Public Affairs. And you heard that my next move took me to Miami, where at Florida International University, I had the privilege of serving as Executive Dean of the College of Health and Urban Affairs, Provost, and Chief Operating Officer. I don't love cities despite their problems. I love cities because of their problems. In overcoming obstacles that seem insurmountable, they display a nobility and courage in the face of adversity that I find inspiring. Do your worst, you can knock a great city to its knees, but it always staggers back to its feet. In 1975, America's largest city, New York City, was placed into receivership. And 1 year later, Cleveland became the first city since the Great Depression to go into temporary bankruptcy. Yet both have persevered, overcame, reinvented, and moved ahead. And right in the heart of Cleveland, at the center of the urban core, lies Cleveland State University, the great public institution I am now privileged to lead at what I believe is a pivotal moment for both the school and the city. I have arrived at an incredibly exciting time. Enrollment rose by 4% this year, reaching its highest level in 15 years. More than $300 million in new construction is underway or planned, including a fantastic new student center, College of Education and Human Services building, a $65 million project that will add 5 dormitories and, yes, a 300-car parking garage here on the campus. I take it it's the parking garage that got the biggest of it. We have seen tremendous growth in all of our health science programs and in our College of Business. I am proud of the incredible strides made by the Cleveland Marshall College of Law, with 95% of its students passing the February 2008 bar exam on their first try. Cleveland State is in and of this city, and the connection and bonds between the two of them must be strengthened. We must build bridges between the university and the city that will provide environments for students to apply and expand what they are learning in the classroom and the laboratory. Our campus's urban environment is an incredible asset of which we must take full advantage. Many students choose CSU because of its downtown location and the opportunity to engage with the business, arts, philanthropic, health, and nonprofit communities. These pathways will lead our students to careers in Cleveland and allow them to stay in Cleveland. And they do want to stay. I have found that businesses and organizations are increasingly anxious to bring CSU students into their fold. They have discovered that they can find a nationally competitive talent pool at CSU, and they get dividends with CSU students, a great work ethic and a commitment to our city. Our ability to provide skilled, trained, and a committed workforce, grounded by a strong foundation in the liberal arts and sciences, is our greatest asset. An example of the transformative power of higher education can be found in a recent report by the Northeast Ohio Council on Higher Education, which estimated that an increase of just 1% in Northeast Ohio's baccalaureate degree attainment level would result in another $2.8 billion in annual personal income for the region. And that's because jobs in the new economy require education and training. And those jobs won't come at all if there isn't a skilled workforce ready to fill them. The average salary for an American with a high school diploma today is $28,000, compared with $51,000 for a person with a 4-year college degree. And this disparity has been steadily growing over the last 30 years. The average income of those with a high school diploma or less has fallen in real terms, while the average income of college graduates has risen 19%. It is estimated that 2/3 of all jobs will require some higher education, and at the current rate we are producing college graduates, by 2025, there will be a shortage of 23 million college-educated adults in the American workforce. Providing the educational opportunities Clevelanders and the residents of Northeast Ohio need to succeed in this new economy is our special mission. And that means not only bringing them to school, but keeping them in school. For some, an opportunity is all they ask. This campus is home to many courageous and determined students, refusing to let any obstacle come between them and their educational dreams. Students like Jennifer Hocko of Lakewood, a mother of 2 who worked her way through school to earn a bachelor's degree last year in speech and hearing, graduating summa cum laude while all the time caring for her seriously ill parents. And Jennifer is back this year working on a master's in speech pathology. And Colin Cross, a business major, one of the 279 military veterans enrolled in Cleveland State, who came to us after serving 8 years in the United States Army, including 2 tours in Iraq and Kosovo. Many of our students face a triple threat to success. College for them is a challenge economically, academically, and socially, and to support, they need our continued guidance and encouragement. Our obligation as educators is not to enroll them. Our obligation as educators is to graduate them. All of us, faculty, staff, advisors, peer students, must rededicate ourselves to helping students getting past the obstacles standing between them and a diploma. It truly does take a village to graduate a student. Public education in America has a long, sterling history of inclusion. Unlike in meritocracy-based systems in Europe, Americans have always considered education an asset, not to be jealously guarded, but to be shared. It is an attitude that has served us well for more than 200 years, sparking the creativity and invention that made us the envy of the world. But for all its long and noble tradition, U.S. public education has been slipping noticeably over the last decades. When I graduated, year unknown, the United States had the highest rate of degree attainment in the world. Among younger adults today, it's a different story. Other nations are achieving degree attainment rates dramatically better than ours, as high as 54% among adults aged 25 to 34, compared with 39% for the United States. According to the Lumina Foundation, of the 30 nations who make up the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, the developed world, 29 have increased degree attainment among their adults over the last 10 years. The United States is the only country to see a drop, and it has fallen from first in the organization to 10th in the percentage of young adults with college degrees. All this merely ups the ante for us at CSU. What we do here is not only vital to the future of the city, region, and state, it has global implications. I am confident that we can meet this challenge. If we were to make a list of Cleveland State's strengths, it would be a long one. But number one would be its outstanding faculty, with more than 90% holding the highest degree attainable in their field. They are productive, talented, committed, and I've been here long enough to know that they share my love for teaching, scholarship, and service. And working both behind the scenes and on the front lines is a remarkable group of committed administrators and staff who do everything to make this possible. And since coming here, I have been heartened and energized by the vast store of goodwill that exists for